Have you been looking to take your life to that next level? To live the life that lights you up inside? Well, this is the place to be. My name's Rachel Chamley. I'm a mindset and manifesting coach, and this is my Manifesting Straight Talk podcast. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's podcast. This week I have a special story for you to tell you all about my trip to New York, but also tell you about what I had to battle to get there. You are going to get the raw truth of what goes on inside my head, because it isn't all positivity that you might think. I have to battle too, just like all of you who are listening to this. So I have been doing a lot of work on collapsing the timeline between where I am now and where I want to be. Those big dreams, I have stepped into that person that I am going to be now. And that is the energy that I teach in the boot camp. But that is me living that life today. But it doesn't always work out so smoothly. It's not like you decide one day you are someone and then all the old beliefs, all the old doubts, everything just fades away. It doesn't feel like that. You've got to keep fighting and battling that voice inside your head every single day. Because every time you stretch and grow, that voice is going to get loud so that it tries to pull you back. This is what happens. And this is why we need to get better and better at learning to shut that voice off. Because the voice in our head and the thoughts that we have are not true. Now, let me say that again. The thoughts that you have are not true. So how many of them are you actually listening to? When things happen and you walk in somewhere and then you start to think you're fat, do you start listening to that voice? Because I bet there's a lot of positive thoughts that you have that you maybe not listening to, but actually you listen to the really triggering ones. So why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we choose to believe that one thought that is going to cripple us? Because there's a part of us that's scared, and if we listen to that thought, we can then take a step back. We can then go, yes, it wasn't for me, really. Yeah, I shouldn't be putting myself out there like this. I'm right. I should just, I'm being silly by going for this big dream. So then you talk yourself out of doing the things that you really want to do. And I'm going to explain how this has panned out for me throughout this journey. So like I said, I've been collapsing the timeline between who I am now and who I want to be. Now, you all know I have huge dreams to make a big impact on this world. And that means me getting on TV. That means me doing public speaking. It means me pushing myself outside my comfort zone and really going for what I want. Because I know that there's a lot of women out there who really need to hear what I've got to say. And that is me when I'm in my highest vibration. I know I've got this big mission. And yes, I can say that there is women out there that need to hear what I have to say. But when I sit and listen to the voices in my head that are going on as I say that, I've got those voices saying, you're not good enough to do this. Who wants to hear what you've got to say? Really, those big dreams are silly. Now, if I sat and listened to them, I would not have done any of this. This podcast would not have existed if I listened to that inner critic. Imagine that. This has now been going on for 2 years. It is absolutely incredible. I love doing it. But at the beginning, my inner critic was going, your voice is horrible. No one wants to hear it. Imagine if I'd have listened to that voice. Now, when the chance come for me to go to New York, that same voice come creeping up saying, you're not good enough to do this. You're not going to fit into that room. You can't go to New York in a month. You can't afford this. You're being silly. It's not for you. Who are you to think you can do this? All of that stuff come creeping in. And what I had to do was stop myself thinking it. So what I did was I took a deep breath and I paused and I said, that is my ego. Thank you for showing up to try and protect me. But what do I really need to do? And then I got the answer. I breathed into the energy and I put my body and my physical being into the energy of the me that already has everything. The me that is already at that place, already helping people make an impact all over this world. I stepped into that Rachel. I stepped into that queen, and I just went, what would you do? What would you do with this opportunity? And she laughed at me. She was like, I'd already be there. She just laughed in my face and was like, what are you doing? Why are you listening to this voice? So I stepped into that energy and I went, right, I will apply. So then I applied. I applied for this big, crazy dream to go to New York, to be in the mix of people who I've actually took courses from. Meet Amy Porterfield, who started one of my journeys down the digital course route for me. These big, big players, big, big names in what I do. I thought, I'm going to go and apply and potentially be able to meet these people. So I applied. And then I had to have the conversation with Mike about, I've applied to go to New York in potentially less than 3 weeks, just to let you know. And we all have that. We all have that fear of what the people around us will think. But the thing is, you're not here to convince the people around you that you are right. They don't know what's inside your head. They don't know what's inside your heart, more importantly, because your heart is where you know, your head is where it tells you that you are stupid. So start to listen to your heart, and remember, you don't have to convince the people around you. What you have to do is do it and show them how it's done. So I had that conversation. It went fine, kind of played it down a little bit that it might not happen because I've had to apply, which I was currently thinking at the time. But then I thought, well, why not me? Why not me? And this is what we've got to think. Why not you? Why do you think you are not worthy of your big dreams? What is it about you that thinks you cannot do it? Because that isn't true. That thought that you have is just the thought that knows how powerful you really are. So start to think, why not me? Why can't this happen for me? Please, whatever your dream is, start to think that thought. So then the next thing come, and I got an interview. I got interviewed to go to this, and I had the same doubts coming up. Oh, they're not going to like me. They're going to be so salesy on this call. And the ego changed. The ego started to throw things in that knew would really play on my mind. So I had a figure in mind that I wanted to pay for this event because I knew it would be expensive. So I had that figure in mind. So my ego kept creeping in and going, oh, it's going to be so much money. You're not going to be able to afford it. You're not going to be able to make this happen. This isn't for you, really. And you're going to get really bought in, and then they're going to tell you the price, and it is going to be so much money. Your ego gets so clever when it doesn't want you to do something, when it doesn't want you to step outside your comfort zone. It will throw anything at you. So imagine that. I'm sat there on this call, trying to bring my best self, trying to bring my energy, and thinking, you know, they're going to throw this really big figure at me for how much this is going to cost. It's going to be so out of my price range. Then I'm going to be sat looking so silly because I'll have to say, sorry, I can't afford it, or whatever that is for me. And I was just literally sat there like, this sounds incredible. I want this so much. I want to make this happen. And there it was. So I was all bought in. The guy on the phone who interviewed me was like, we want you to come. We love your energy. Want you to be there. And then the price. And the price come. And the price was slightly over what I had planned, but it was doable. And I was like, yes. So now there's nothing in my way. Now there's no excuse. So then I got over that hurdle. And that's the thing. I got over each hurdle as it comes. And you can do that from not choosing to listen to what you want. So every time my ego come in about price, I would say, no, it's going to be this much. No, you're wrong. It's going to be this much. So I was battling with my ego constantly. So then it all happened. And I got my place booked, I got my tickets booked, and they weren't easy. Everything was going wrong. Tickets weren't working out, flights weren't working out. But I thought, do you know what? This is just my ego. Thank you so much for showing up, but let's make this happen. And it was a constant battle. It was a constant choice to go, this is for me. This is happening. And you'll face this yourself. And the thing is, when this happens and your ego shows up and that inner critic shows up, you have a choice. You can decide that it is trying to keep you small and it is not telling you the truth, or you can listen to it. And if you listen to it, you are choosing not to be worth it. You are choosing that your big dreams aren't worth it. And they are. Your dreams want you more. So please start to learn how to battle this ego. Start to learn how to take control. So everything worked out. I got the flight. I got everything booked. I was on my way. The journey was difficult. It was a long journey, lots of pre-checks. Obviously, the airports are crazy at the minute, so that was all going on, but I got there. I got there and I had the most amazing few days meeting people that, again, if I had not stepped out my comfort zone and invested in myself years ago, I wouldn't have met. I met people I took a course with in January 2020. Now, this was my first ever group coaching program. And at that time, I joined that and my ego kicked in saying, this isn't going to change your world. You're going to waste your money doing this. Why are you paying this much money to do this? And you know what? That has been the best experience of my life. I've met the most amazing people and I got to meet them in person at this trip in New York. It was incredible. So that's another way that you can open up your life, by meeting the most amazing people, by not listening to your ego. We've got to learn to shut it off because it's going to show up. It's never going to go away, but you've got to learn who wins. It has to be your heart. You cannot live your life listening to this inner critic that just wants to hold you back and make you miserable. What fun is that? So everything was going smoothly. I got to the event. I was nervous. I was walking in and there was all these people. All these people dressed amazing, looked so glamorous, so beautiful. And there was me walking in, feeling out of place in what I was wearing, out of place in my body. Then the ego creeps in. You're too fat. That's what it was starting to say. You're too fat to be here. You don't fit in. Your clothes aren't as nice. You're wearing trainers. Look at you. How nasty are our inner critics? Like, they are awful. They are not nice people. You think of how nice you are and how nice you would be to other people, but then you think about that voice inside your head that you let run the show is an absolute bitch. Mine is horrible. Yours will be exactly the same. They try everything. And imagine saying, you are fat. Yes, like, seriously. So I had to take a nice deep breath. And I wasn't feeling 100%. I've put some weight on through winter, like we all do, a little comfort blanket. But I know I'm not in my best shape. And I could have let that affect that whole conference. I could have sat there sitting back, not feeling good enough, not feeling like I could interact properly because I didn't feel as confident as I could do. But what I decided was to not listen. So I said, yes, okay, there's a bit of weight to be lost. That's okay. But this is my first time coming. This is my first time seeing what to wear, what size I would feel comfortable in. Nobody else was looking at me thinking I was fat, just me. So it's all about what I felt comfortable as. And I just sat there thinking, yeah, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to enjoy this. I've worked hard for this. I've paid money for it, and I am going to enjoy this whole experience and go all in. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for telling me how fat I am. That is so lovely of you, but I'm not going to listen to you. So I walked in, I made contact with someone in the queue that looked nice so I could start talking to them. And that was just how it began. It spiraled. Once I talked to one person, I then chatted to someone else. I then chatted to someone else. No one was looking at me thinking, you're too fat to be here. That was all in my head. And then I just started connecting and being me and bringing my energy. and enjoying the whole experience, which was absolutely unbelievable. So please, when your ego is showing up, when your inner critic is showing up, you have a choice. You might have listened to this for years. You might be in the way of letting it win. Now, it shows up in so many different ways. It can show up in telling you you're not perfect enough. So then procrastination starts. You can show up by saying things aren't good enough or you're not good enough. It can be nasty and name calling and bring flashbacks from your past that when you failed, or you were maybe walking on stage and tripped up, or you stuttered in a podcast interview, or whatever it has that wants to bring up all these old memories. It will do it. You have a choice in that moment. You have a choice whether to let it win. Because the good thing is, if it's showing up, it means you are stretching out of your comfort zone. It means you are about to make incredible things happen. Like, how good is that? Imagine thinking this nasty voice inside my head is only here because something amazing is going to happen to me. And suddenly you don't feel the anger, you don't feel small from your ego. Suddenly you're filled with excitement. Suddenly you're filled with the thought, if you're here, if you're showing up, I'm stretching my comfort zone. I'm getting out my comfort zone. So what incredible things are going to happen? And that is how we start to shift it. You always have the choice whether you listen. You have the choice whether you hold on to that thought or you choose a better thought. You can start to reframe it. So what we've got to do is listen to the thought. Yes, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be the worst thing that anyone could ever say to you, because you are going to be the worst person inside to yourself than any bully could ever be. But you have the choice. You can say, thank you so much for showing up, but I am letting myself be the queen that I am. Now, bring in a powerful reframe for yourself. So what is your mantra? What is your go-to? What are you saying to yourself that you truly are? Now, you don't have to believe it fully, but what you have to do is reframe that thought at that point. So when I was walking in going, I'm fat. Yeah, I'm fat. Actually, I stopped myself and I said, I have incredible energy. I have incredible energy that people are going to love at this conference. And I am going to show that. I am going to show everyone the real me. That was what was going through my head. So I was like, I don't care if I'm fat. It's about my energy. Nobody cares. It's about what I bring to the party. So that is what I went in thinking. And my head was held high and I was beaming and I was saying hello to people and I was making them feel good by me being happy and having my energy. So other people who were feeling nervous were actually feeding off my energy. So think about that. Think about what you stepping into your greatness can do for other people. You can show your daughters, your family, your co-workers how to be confident, even though you might be battling things inside. But if you show them how to do it, and you can tell them how vulnerable you feel and how hard it is for you, but you'll be teaching them something amazing. So now is the time to stop letting the inner critic win. Us women are here for amazing, incredible missions, and we are here to help other women rise. You cannot do that by listening to the bully inside your head. So you need to make a choice today. You need to stand up tall and say you are here for great things and you are not listening to that bullshit. Not every thought is true, and you choose whether to believe it. So that is you choosing to believe the bullshit. So you have the choice in that. So you can bring yourself round, even if you've let yourself wallow in it for a while, or you've let yourself go down and feel bad, you still have the choice to turn this round. You still have the choice to shut out that bully inside your head. Now, it's never going to go away, and that's the good thing. See it as an absolute gift, because every time it shows up, you are on the point of greatness. So please don't hate the voice. Love it for coming in. Love it for showing you how amazing you really are. Now, it might not be saying that in them words because it'll be saying horrible things to you. But even though it comes up, it'll be like, yes, bring it on. Because do you know what? You're not true. And it means I am rising. I am expanding. I am going to the next level. So thank you so much for showing up. If you weren't in my head, it's because I'm doing something boring. And who wants boring? No one wants vanilla. So yes, praise that thing for coming in. Praise that little gremlin that we have inside and go, hey, I'm an absolute queen and I'm claiming this anyway. So thanks. We won't be hearing from you again today. Goodbye. And it is a choice. And I wanted to share with you how much I battled with that this week. And then going to the media mixer, I was like, these people are too cool. It's too cool of a party. Who wants me in there? I've not been to a cool party. So what? I absolutely rocked it. I shut down my inner critic and I was like, yeah, but they've never had a crazy Brit there, have they, before? So they'll want to meet me. And do you know what? It was such good energy. People are so normal. You look at these people, do you know what? They're just people. They're just nice. They just want to connect, just like you and me. So everybody you put on this pedestal, you need to bring them back to your level because no one is on a pedestal. So start to get your inner critic in check and start living your damn life. Stop holding back with the procrastination, the stalling, whatever it is, stopping yourself shine. All that stuff has to stop. You have to say your inner critic talks absolute bullshit and you're not listening anymore. And believe me, watch your life change. Now, I'd love to say you can get rid of it completely, but we just can't. So let's learn to not let it win. And that's my advice for you this week. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Catch me next week for more Manifesting Straight Talk with Rachel Chamley. See you then.